Okay, so here we're going to be drawing a grid design inspired by pop art using either food or a portrait. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to split your paper into four, fold it one way and then fold it the other way, making sure that the corners line up so you've got 4 equal sections, or you could just separate it with a ruler if you prefer. I'm just splitting my paper in half. So once you've got a grid formation, I'm just going over mine with a ruler and a pencil now to make the shapes nice and defined. And then in one corner then you're going to start off with either your portrait picture or your logo or your packaging. I've gone for Aero because it's my favourite chocolate. And I'm just going to sketch out the logo. Now what might seem like quite a fairly straightforward task at first actually becomes quite tricky when you have to replicate the same image more than once. So make sure that you go for a logo which you're comfortable drawing and have little practice beforehand if you want to. Okay, what you'll notice here is all my pencil is drawn really lightly, so if I need to rub anything out it's not going to leave a mark on my paper, so I'm really practicing sketching lightly on my page. So once you've done your first logo, it's time to draw it all over again, but now you'll have a little guideline as to how big each of the letters or the shapes needs to be. So I'm just adding in some small pencil markers for myself just to make sure that I'm going to get the lettering the same size second time round. Okay, and again sketching in really lightly until you've got shapes that you're happy with. It might be that you have to do it a couple of times to get the proportion right, especially if you're drawing circles or O's like I am. Sometimes they can be a bit tricky to replicate exactly the same the first time round. So now it's time just to sketch in the same logo in your third and fourth box, again using those guidelines and those really light pencil marks. Okay, and once you have all 4 like this, the next thing to do is just to rub out any guidelines that you no longer need, really lightly with a rubber, and also just to take away some of that pencil where it might be a little bit darker and it might interfere with colour. One thing you'll notice about pop art is it always uses very bright, bold block colours. There isn't really a lot of tone in it. So it lends itself quite well in this task if you have something like Sharpies or felt pens. I'm using coloured pencils here, but you could use kind of chalks, crayons. Even black and white would be quite nice because you could perhaps do different patterns in each section. So I'm doing a kind of blue bubbly effect over my lettering because obviously Aero is a bubbly chocolate. And what I'm going to do in each of the squares, I'm almost going to have a colour theme. So this one's going to be cool colours. So it's going to be different shades of blue and a bit of green. Then I'm going to have another box which is hot colours, and I think I'm going to alternate it so that you've got a hot colour and a cold colour box next to each other, but on a diagonal so that they're not kind of overlapping. Okay, so now I'm just going in with a darker colour just to define it. What you'll find, another thing with pop art, is that they usually outline things, so either in a colour or in a black pen, so use whatever you have available. So when it comes time to start shading in your background, one thing you might want to do is this. If you get a spare piece of paper and put it underneath, it's much easier to shade at a diagonal and at speed whilst not pressing too hard. Obviously, if you press too hard, you're going to get awful marks. This works really well for felts and Sharpies as well. So it just helps you to kind of go all the way to that edge without kind of going over and ripping the page or kind of making any marks. So I just find that technique helps, and again I'm just pressing lightly with my pencil because I don't want to go out of the lines, I don't want to lose control. So repeat the same colour process for your other 3 boxes using your choice of colours, and you'll have something like this. Here I've done 2 before I ended up with a bit of hand cramp, but ideally you'd like to get your 4 done for the task. If you have any questions, please get in touch, and other than that, stay safe and we'll see you soon.